Welcome to the Fukaru Sport GT. We have another competitive field that's coming over today to face off against each other on Dreams of LS, which is a really cool track. I loved testing it. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm going to fix my mic real quick so I can give you a good view of the race here. This is going to be kind of a longer parade lap that we have today, just because it's a 2 minute and 33 second par time, which is going to be very interesting. We usually don't have long par times like this, but we'll see how that works out. It should work really great to see how people work that out. So it's going to be a fun race. RPM is currently the points leader, so we have Agent Ranger, RPM, Emerald, and Death Perception. Let's see. So, yeah, the Agent Ranger got the qualifying time today, so that put him on the pole. RPM is using a new vehicle tonight, the new Revolter, which he got free from being on the after-hours guest list, which is going to be interesting to see how he uses that car. It was actually really fast in qualifying, which was unusual for what I saw. But, it's really interesting you put interest in a certain vehicle and see how well it does, and then you see it in a race, and it does so much better than you expect. And I think that vehicle is one of those ones where we're going to see that. I don't know how he's going to use that with qualifying per se, because it definitely went way faster than the par time. That's why Agent ended up getting the pole for today's event, was because he fell right under that par time, got an additional 2 points for it. And RPM is having some issues because he's been unable to stay under par in the races that he's been in, which has really kind of the overall winner is almost always in GT 300, just because the point scores have no negatives. You don't get any negatives for you're not going over par. If you're in GT 300, when in GT 500, you automatically get a deficit put on your time, and that hurts. So that's going to be something that he's going to have to take into account when racing these races. So here we come. This is the start of the race. And we go in 3, 2, 1. There we go. We have started the race. Welcome to the Fukaru Sport GT. And what's the name of this course again? Dream of LS. I know I've drove this car like 15 times today. Just raced 15 times today and still couldn't remember the names. So we're going to drop back to Emerald. Oh, maybe we won't. Yeah, we'll drop back to Emerald real quick. Emerald is currently sponsored by this vehicle. And he was having issues with it. When he qualified today, he actually picked the wrong vehicle. So he drug the par time way down today, but it ended up kind of sinking out because most of the guys that were in the fast speed got the par time. There was enough guys that really put that together. So here we see RPM pull out in front. That is not much of a shock, because like I said, that car in qualifying definitely did better. But RPM has got to run an average par time. Like I said, he cannot go higher than the GT 500 class, and I think that's why he's trying to slow his car down a little bit here. So we're going to end up with two packs here. One's obviously going to be Agent and RPM. And this is a squirrely track too. And the other one is going to end up being Death and M. Royal. M. Royal's already saying he's having some problems keeping the car on the ground. And that's not too much shock. So there's Emerald. He's all by himself. Death's way in the back. Death is one of the big competitors that we had in our competitive days, if you will, in the beginning. There was a lot of people that were jockeying for position. So here's... Now, see that right there? That's... He had to be careful there not to beat that 233. This is where car setup ends up being really important in consistent times. Like, you have to be able to flow with your driving, and that's the difference between some of these other ones. If you get out there and you have to go, what ends up happening is you end up having a car that's set up the wrong way, and it doesn't always do what you want it to do. Now, if Agent got squirrely there. So what happened was like, for instance, my par car that I test went off the track there. He's going to get a deficit in points for that. My par car is a Coquette, and I have it set up a certain way so that when I race the races, Death dropped. There we go. He's gone. So when I lost my train of thought when Death dropped. So Agent has broken away, has moved up on RPM, but now RPM's got to still see himself in that par arena. Can he stick to it? And Agent has already done a 232, so he's dropped off. Now that's funny. And he even hit the brakes. Oh, so what I was talking about before is I have a card that's set up specifically for part-time. So every time I do a race, I even tell myself, like, I don't think this car was doing part-time today. And when I actually do the race, I get part-time every time. And it's just because that's the way the car is set up. It's not set up to be super fast or make me push myself over my edge. It's just to get in that perfect comfort zone of racing. And that's really what you want. You want a car that's set right up into that little sweet spot. I think that's one of the problems that RPM has been having lately is he's trying to find a car that will fit into that little sweet spot. And he hasn't been able to do that. And when he hasn't, that pulls him into the GT500 class and hurts his points. And also, it basically in a race like this, so we got three competitors left now. That's going to leave him Royal to take the GT300 crown. So RPM's at 234. Oh, and for those of you who, for those who did not see last week's race, we did not actually have one because of, I don't know if I got sick. I got something like a stomach bug, and it did not help me at all for wanting to do anything, so I ended up having to cancel at the last minute, and we ended up having some other things that we put up. I have also been playing San Andreas, which has been a blast, and we look forward to getting that on the stream. On the YouTube channel. The complete playthrough for San Andreas. That will take a while to get finished. That's a big game, and it's really fun to play. And I'd heard of it having an online option, but I'd never seen I never seen an online version for it. So, and at some point, I would like to have something with a GTA 4 set up, but I don't know if that would be easy to do. So Agent is thinking he went over, and he did. He went 232.69. And there's RPM off the track again. Lost a little bit of control. That's going to be another point deduction for him. So if he ends up getting in the GT500, he's going to get hurt from his point deductions. Regardless, these guys, other than the par issue, they've got a pretty good competition going on here. except that Agent's been spun out by hitting the back end of RPM. And RPM got a little bit off the pace there as well, so he allowed Agent to catch back up with him. And I think the other reason he's doing that is because he understands that car is too fast. That's the other problem, is this track is a little bit thin in certain spots. So it means they don't have a lot of room to maneuver. But it's actually really good for sizing. I mean, it may look a little bit lean here, but when you get into certain areas, this is a tough area to turn into here. It's a double back turn. It's not really like, I'm not a big fan of what I call full 180 turns. I usually will end up rejecting races that have them. This one doesn't really have 180. It's kind of a double back turn. It's very tricky. It goes in and then back out around. So even though it does kind of fit into that 180, it's not a 180. It's more like an inverted S kind of thing. More like a 5. That's a good example. It's a 5. So when you see it next time, and you can see I actually have problems getting the camera to work on it because of the way it doubles back. So let's keep looking at that par again. 234. He's RPM is got a car, and I think what he's doing here is he's able to hold it down just enough to make sure that he doesn't have to pass him. He just has to get in the lead. And he's got a much faster car, so he's kind of playing around with Agent here just to keep himself below that par number. And RPM is saying that he got some kind of slingshot around him there. It didn't appear that way to me. And like you said, RPM definitely has the faster car here. I don't know if there's something. I mean, Agent obviously doesn't know that he's broken par. Oh, he's off the track again. He's going to get point deduction. Even when he's getting first, he's going to end up getting railroaded with the points because he's off the track. And this is where selecting that car is huge. And as always, like I said, I like to do this. This is something I've been told to do by everybody here, and I'm just going to keep doing it. Wow. Was that it? No, we still not got it yet. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the videos. I'm awful at advertising my own stuff, and it's unfortunate because this is a great video that I love having people share. What we do want to have is an average of 9 players, and when we do that, we will start giving out awards like we did with Atomic World Challenge. Atomic World Challenge got a $1 million cash card for their work, and like I said, if they do well and we get lots of views and lots of players and things get going great, I have no problem moving back into giving some, basically in-game cash awards and cash cards for it. So if you're interested in playing with us, it is every Sunday at 10 p.m. that we do 2 races, the Fukaru Sport GT and the Sprunk Extreme 1 Cup. And they're both fun to do. One's if you haven't seen it or you're not new to our channel, check out at the end. There'll be a screen for linking up to the Sprunk Extreme, so you can see the entire race series. And Monday the Sprunk Extreme goes up, and Friday is when this with Fukaru Sport GT gets posted. So this has become a cat and mouse, 9 laps of cat and mouse at 2 minutes and 33 seconds apiece. RPM has managed to keep his time under par. Agent does not know that he has breached the par. And they continue to fight it out. Off the strike again. There's another deficit for RPM. There's going to come a point where we don't have any points left. And off the course again. Ah. I mean, at this point, we haven't been able to watch him roll much, but in the same respect, I'm thinking that, he's going to have a much better time staying on the track. So here's the only sponsored guy we have in the Fukaru Sport GT right now. And he has the Serrano. His loyalty to the brand has really put him in a position where he's probably going to get a move up for next season. And he's definitely fighting this car. And I think that's one of the problems he's had is that he's still trying to push the car. And that's where I think it's kind of hurt him over the season. So, yeah, Death did show up tonight. But I don't really know what actually happened. He seemed to be having some problems coming into the race. And he had a really strong... he always starts off really strong with his seasons. But then he kind of teeters off, and I think it's like anything. People have stuff in their life that gets in their way of being able to compete in things like this. And what I want to do is I want to get something as a competitive race set up for this, so that players can really show off their ability. I mean, one of the biggest things that this brings is, unlike timing for other races and limitations for numbers and stuff that really never work in video games, this is easy to see. Can't really cheat to go faster if that's your... Oh, wait, maybe you didn't... Nope. I don't want to quit that. So, man, there's RPM off the track again. Unlike other things where but they're like, oh, we're gonna cheat to go faster, and that really doesn't work for this. You have to stay under the par, and that's really the trick. Is because you can't go. You try to go as fast as you can. This is all about just driving and being consistent. And that's even more tricky than anything. Imagine, like, we were talking about this before, and it was like, what's harder to do? Be fast, or tell yourself, I don't want to be fast, or I'm going to slow down a little bit. And it's extremely difficult to say I'm gonna ease off the throttle, or the easiest thing to do is obviously set the car up in a way that will make sure that you get par at every race. I know that sounds really tough to do, and it is, but I have done it, and if you work at it, you have no problems finding a par car and keeping it consistent. And you can have some really, this was designed in a way to have, those livery cars get out there and be competitive. Like, we're seeing here, Agent Ranger's car is definitely a par car. Probably just has, one setting, maybe engine one too high. And if he changes that around, we won't have any problems for the future. And then that's the thing, is some cars are more difficult than others. It's based on looking at the map and saying, okay, I might have to be a little bit more thorough with this track. The beauty of the par system too is that it's really set by the racers that race in it. So if everybody wanted to drive penumbras, drive through them. So if everybody wanted to drive penumbras, nothing would change. It'd play out exactly the same way in a race that it would in anything else. I suddenly started yawning. So like I said, if everybody set their times, it would be based on the players that were playing it that would really set the par time for the race to make sure it's the most competitive that it can be. So RPM's off the course again. Is he going to have any points left when we hit the end of this race? It's going to be tough to figure it out. I am having difficulty today, guys. We've effectively had small big crashes, but most of them with competitive. We're actually on, I believe that's lap 9 right there, which will be the last lap. So here comes Agent in the final turn. See what I'm saying with that 5? That's, or it's an inverted 5. I don't know. It's an awesome turn. I love it, and it's very tricky. The way this track was set up too was parts of the track itself are kind of squirrely. They don't allow you to get your groove down. Like right there, you can see him getting the back end of it, getting happy, and then there's RPM just getting out. But he's pulling together, and I think that's just because that car is faster. So let's look at what we got. What we got here, 234. So RPM kind of moved off a little bit, and I think that's what kind of hurt Agent because he'll be in GT 500. That may actually work out in his favor. There's 3 ways of scoring. There's GT 500, the GT 300 class, and then like an overall score. Usually the overall score is whoever hits the GT 300 class. So there's usually just 2 awards. Regardless, even with the 4-player race tonight, this ended up being a really cool competitive race that was really fun to be a part of. We're hoping we can get some of the guys like Ricky Bobby back that were having some issues with work to be able to play. So as we end the race today, again, I wanted to just say, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be made aware when we post some more videos up. If you want to be involved in it, it's every Sunday at 10 p.m. You can look up Sport GT Racing, both on Social Club and in the Xbox Club area. And there's RPM pulling off his first place finish, which really didn't matter because he was going to get it regardless. Unless he broke par at the last second. Did he? I'm not even gonna look. Emerald deserves some screen time here. A little drifting going on. We have the 10-second run to the end. And that is how it's gonna end as he drives off the cliff. 233 dropped right on it. Good job to RPM. Thanks for Agent Ranger. Don't forget to click on those 2 playlists that we're going to have on the display there. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Have fun, guys.